I'm Bishop Dr. Eddie Shimba from Integrity Worship Center Family Church. Want to pass on my condolences to the 6th President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We want to wish the family strength from God to guide them even as they pass through this trying moment. We would want to say on behalf of the church and on behalf of the nation that may his soul rest in eternal peace.
RCV joins the nation in mourning the passing of Zambia's 6th Republican President, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We honor his service and leadership. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and the people of the nation of Zambia. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
We, as you already said, should not allow elections to divide us. We should remain one Zambia, one nation, according to our motto, as we have already been.
RCV joins the nation in mourning the passing of Zambia's 6th Republican President, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We honor his service and leadership. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and the people of the nation of Zambia. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
The time in Central Africa is 09:26. Lovely good morning to you and welcome to Friday's edition of Chatback right here on Radio Christian Voice. My name is Angel Kasabo. Always great to know that you are tuned in this morning. A reminder that this conversation is live on Facebook. You go to your Facebook and search for RCV News. RCV News is a platform where we post everything current affairs, so come through and let's get interactive. The number is 0956 200 490. 0956 200 490. That's the number that you can get in touch with the studio. In the first hour of the program, we'll restrict your contributions to text messages. In the second hour of the program, we'll get into your calls. This morning, we look at a very interesting topic, the role of the church in national dialogue. This is our topic of discussion this morning, the role of the church in national dialogue. And I'm privileged to be joined in studio by, he wears so many hats, but for the sake of this radio program, for starters, he is the founder and overseer of Jesus Anointed Ministries International, which now has around 60 branches across Zambia, and also the chairperson of the organizing committee on the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, Bishop Billy Mfula. Good morning and welcome to Chatback, Bishop.
Good morning. It's such a joy to chat with you on Chatback.
Bishop, I think it's we haven't had you on this platform for a very long time.
Long time now.
Yes, we would love to welcome you back. And how's the year going for you?
The year is going on well. Oh yeah, of course, with these funeral seasons that have come around the country, we are always seeking to hear the mind of God, the heart of God over the nation, so that as priests we can well interpret the times and the seasons that we are in as a nation. Yeah,
Bishop, you just talked about this funeral sort of season in which we are in. As a country, we are mourning our 6th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who passed on June 5th in South Africa after undergoing treatment. What do you make of the passing on of our former president, as others would love to put, ECL?
Yeah. First and foremost, I would of course love to pass my condolences to the family, the wife, the children, the close relatives, and the nation at large. Yeah. For me, times like this are not just times of mourning, but also great reflection, to get much lessons that need to be learned, first at personal level, and also lessons that should be learned even at national level, because the passing of any great leader has great lessons to those that remain. And then also it always creates a vacuum that others must step up and begin to get to occupy and so on. So for me, the passing on to glory of our 60th Republican president, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, I received this news. Of course, it was a shock. We didn't expect that this would happen. But at the same time, I believe it has come with great lessons that we need to pick up as a country. That we must become more united, because it has revealed a lot of hidden aches and pains in the hearts of people. And so for me, it shows that there's a deep healing that is actually needed in the nation across the political divides and so on. If we are to become this strong, united nation, we shouldn't cover wounds. We must make sure that we are healed deeply, so that when such situations happen, it finds healed hearts. And that it's also important to always work hard to reconcile with each other while we live. And when such situations happen, it becomes easy to have a proper leveled ground to be able to operate and do what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, when we don't have healed hearts, even a small prick causes great pain. Yes. So this is what I've been learning and seeing, and it's my prayer that as Zambia, we can get to acquire enough wisdom around this time. Yes.
Most definitely. Before we get into, you've talked about how that you've learned some lessons during this, funeral period, this mourning period. But before we get into that,
yes,
as a church, how are you going to remember President Lungu?
We have a lot of things that we can cite as church that we will remember President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, a part of his life that will never be buried. Number one, it is him fostering a relationship between church and government. I must testify here that during his term in office, we saw a lot of dialogue that began to exist in between church and government, which came through the instituting of the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs. That brought a lot of dialogue between church and government, because that was a platform that government had to communicate with the church, and that's the platform as well that as church leaders, if we had certain grievances that we wanted government to pay attention to, other than just us communicating through the church mother bodies, we had this platform that we were able to use. It took a lot of boldness to be able to institute a full-fledged ministry that needed to look at affairs of religion in the country, and also guidance where possible. And so we'll remember him for that. We'll remember him for that, because we know that even out of that, that's why we have the Department now of National Guidance and Religious Affairs in the office of the Vice President. That is coming as a result of what President Lungu had actually established. How do we forget such a man? Also, the bold step to also declare the 18th of October as a national day of prayer, fasting, reconciliation, in this country, that as well has gone in our hearts as church, because it's rare to have a nation that will set aside a day in a year when people can pray and fast and seek to reconcile with God and with each other. That is from State House all the way to the streets of a nation. That in itself will remain in our spiritual archives, really, as something that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu did. Such a bold step to do that. Why am I saying so? I remember having discussions with the late President Frederick Jacob Titus Chiluba, and he was telling me that, look, we pray that in future there will come up a leader who will institute a full-fledged ministry that will look at matters of Christianity and religion in this country. He said, in my time, the best I could do was to at least create a desk in State House. But there's teeth it lacked, and we trust that there will be somebody bold enough to be able to do that. And we see that happening in the time of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, that ministry, and then going ahead to also give us a day when we can get to pray and fast, and also the step of beginning the construction, laying the foundations, raising the pillars of the national house of prayer for the country. That as well is a bold step, all right? And also his listening ear. Whenever he was met with challenges that he knew this is beyond me and beyond us as government, he quickly called upon some of the church leaders to ask for advice and help. All right? So that for me, I'll never forget. I remember when the gassing issue became a huge problem. All right? Calls came in. All right? Sat on a round table with a few church leaders, and he was saying, we are in this problem. Twala Chitashan. What shall we do? That is dialogue. We gave our counsel, gave our guide, and that problem became history. And that's just one example I'm citing. There are a lot of things behind closed doors that he will be able to consult the church. And that for me is a good virtue in leadership. A leader must always know that he's not enough in himself and must give a place for God. And his availability really also to, when it came to church gatherings, at times he will come in not to say anything, but just to sit and be a part of what God is saying and listen to what the clergy have to say. So I have a lot I'll remember President Edgar Lungu for.
All right. So in case you're just tuning in, you are listening to Friday's edition of Chatback right here on Radio Christian Voice. This morning, our topic of discussion is the role of the church in national dialogue. So you can come through on Facebook. Let us know where you are watching from, and also your questions and contributions. You can post them in the comments section. All right. Now, Bishop, let's get to where we are right now.
Right. Yes.
You've said how you're going to remember the former president as a church. But Bishop, we are in a situation as we speak. The Republican president addressed the nation yesterday, and this perhaps, address of the nation, before we get to what you make of his address, there is a situation at hand that as a country we found ourselves in. Now, the former president died in South Africa on 5th June. And as one would expect, his body needed to be repatriated so that we go on with funeral arrangements and all that. But as we stand today, today is the 13th of June.
That's right.
There's no such thing. We don't know of any funeral arrangements, and there's a deadlock between government and the Lungu family on, for starters, the repatriation of the body from South Africa to Zambia, then also later funeral arrangements. And just yesterday, we heard something very serious coming through from the Lungu family, that it was his wish that the current president should be nowhere near his body in death. And there's so much happening.
Yeah.
What do you make of what's happening for this funeral?
It is saddening. And then for me, I would love that Zambia must get deep lessons in all this. Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 3 says, sorrow is better than laughter.
Yeah.
And a sad face is good for the heart. All right? Now, how can sorrow be better than laughter? How can a sad face be good for the heart? What is Solomon telling us? He's actually telling us that it is in those moments when you are sorrowful, when your face is sad, that your heart can gain wisdom, that your heart can learn. So for Zambia, this is as our faces are saddened, as we are in deep sorrow, may our hearts learn. University will educate our minds, but may never educate our hearts. That's why we can be educated men in the head, yet have a heart unlearned. Our hearts must learn in such a time as this. Why are we having these problems? And I speak this from the point of a clergy, a priest. Why are we seeing what we are seeing? Number one, we'll see that it's because there are wounds that the family has had, even way before this thing has happened. Okay? This is why it's not easy to get to have consensus and come to a place of good dialogue. No wonder there are these reactions. These reactions are not just coming from the demise. It shows that there are issues within, there are injuries within that should have been addressed prior. That's it. So we are now beginning to easily open up other wounds. What are we supposed to learn? Let us learn to address matters quickly as a nation. When we know that one party is aggrieved in a particular area, let's deal with those areas. Let's not postpone reconciliations as well. Let's make sure that that is done, because when we delay to resolve such matters, we have serious problems when we face critical issues as what we are in right now. But then, we must also tell ourselves, this has happened, and we must come to the place of agreement. Let our hearts forgive each other. Very important. And begin to see the good side in each other and how best we can actually get to resolve. That is very important. All right? So we are in this problem right now. So as government, we should be saying we need to play our role. Zambia is of age now. This is not, we are not burying a former president for the first time. No. We buried the first Republican president, President Kaunda. We buried President Chiluba. We buried President Levi Patrick Manawasa. We buried President Lupia Banda. We buried President Michael Chilufya Sata. And all these funerals had their own unique situations around them. Yeah, but we successfully buried as a nation. We can learn from the past. And I have no doubt, I still have...
So, Bishop, in your
Yes.
considered view, what looks to be so different around this one that we have? I know even in the other ones there were challenges, but
Yes.
these challenges are something we've never seen before.
Exactly. They have come in their different format. Why? It's because there were issues that needed to have been resolved prior, which, sitting with the family, they will share their concerns. And those issues must be dealt with. All right? It's just that we are now trying to deal with injuries at a time we have an issue. So it then means it calls for maturity here.
It's difficult to deal with injuries and death.
That's the
when
thing.
there's death.
When there's death, because the injury now grows because we are also getting to mourn. But from what we are seeing and hearing, the family is ready to listen. They have their demands, all right, which for me, even the use of demand is not the best. It should be requests being laid on the table. The government has its also system and order and protocols in how they would actually love to have certain things be done. And so it's also important that we work on who does the mediation role. Talk to family as we speak into government. I don't see us failing to come to a place of agreeing. Family, they have a role to play in mourning their father, husband, and at the same time, family must understand that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who happens to be their father, husband, and relative, has also been national trophy to this country and must also be able to allow the state to do what they ought to do as government.
Bishop,
That's it.
whilst we're trying to resolve all these injuries,
Yes.
what happens in an event, as is the case, when the family say, look, these things that we are saying are not coming from us, but these are the wishes of the deceased. How do we handle now such a situation? Because they're saying even the one that they said that the Republican president shouldn't be close to his funeral or his body, and not the demands of the family, but of the deceased. How do we handle such a situation?
Thank you very much. All right. Now, if this is coming as a wish from the departed, we can still deal with it. Yeah, because one, we are saying it was being spoken from what angle? Is it a grievance that was unresolved? And then it has made somebody come up with such a wish. And then we that are living, we are alive for a purpose. All right? We must be saying, is this morally correct? What precedency will we be setting as a nation? Because the way we handle this matter is key on how we'll be able to handle other matters. All right? For me, that is not morally correct. It's also not ethically correct that a head of state should not appear and be able to mourn and pay his last respects to somebody he took over from.
Regardless of their situation at the time.
Regardless of their situations at the time. Him who is still alive, he has an opportunity to correct things from his end. Yeah, because we'll be setting wrong precedency. That's it. And so this is where now the council, of elders, the council of clergy gets to come in. We have, even in the Bible, all right, Rachel is dying, all right, and she gets to name, the son Ben-Oni, meaning son of sorrow, That was her wish being verbalized, and she was naming the child out of a place of pain, all right? But Jacob turned that wish and said, no, this child shall be called Benjamin, meaning son of my right hand, because if I go ahead with this particular wish, we will keep sorrow perpetuated in the family and in our lives. So this is not to simply be mean to go against a wish. We are trying to look at the broader picture and the precedency that we are setting. And we are saying to the family, that look, we need your father and husband be mourned in a dignified manner, and let us allow the head of state to have an opportunity.
Bishop, let me throw in another one.
Yes.
From the information that I've been privileged to have some conversations with some of their family members, just side interviews off record. And one other, sort of grieving, I would say, statement that has been prominent is that his death was a little bit of, like you said, it was a different one because the former president hasn't been well for quite some time.
Yes.
And it was that quite some time that at times he was even blocked from going outside of the country, to seek medical attention. So now they're saying, look at all this,
yes.
And also the other issues that have been happening.
Exactly.
And so you wouldn't say it's okay, but you would understand when the family say some statements because they're saying there's been all this. So how do we just quickly forget about all this and say, okay, fine, you are the state, the bigger picture, take it over.
Very good. So those now are the unresolved issues. That will be resolving at a wrong time. Okay? And any time you are doing the right thing at the wrong time, it faces its own resistance. But this is where now, when we know as government, there's where we have erred. A system can't apologize, it has no feelings. But the players of the system are human beings that must be able to feel what the family is feeling, the injury the family is feeling. There's no harm to apologize.
To the family.
Where we have not treated you right, this that we didn't do well, we apologize. Forgive us. We don't lose a thing. We must know that while a system has no feelings, the players in the system are human beings that should be able to feel, because surely that's a concern from the family.
So, Bishop, you're also of the view others have called for government to put aside their ego, whatever players are in there, to apologize to the family and say, we are sorry, let's move forward.
Very important.
Are you also of the view that that's a route that should be taken?
Apologizing, saying sorry to each other is biblical. It's Christian. None of us is perfect. So where we know as government we didn't do the right thing, let's get to offer an apology. That's very important. For this that we didn't do right, the grievance that you now feel, we apologize. Maybe we didn't show the concern we needed to. We didn't do what we misinterpreted a few things, and it has landed us to where we are now. We apologize for this.
Bishop.
And when they do that, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength that it's possible to go wrong as players within government. And it's a huge lesson to the leaders coming after us. They will know that saying sorry where we are wrong to the people we have possibly offended is a sign of character and great strength.
Bishop, in all this, the church has been dragged into it. And now they're saying that this situation between the Lungu family and government has shown where we are as a country. Not only that, but where the church is. Because they're saying, if the church, and these are the words that a lot of people have been saying, if the church was not compromised. Now they say compromised because they feel that the church is separated, is divided on political lines. If the church was not compromised, the church was going to act as a mediator between the family and government, and we're not going to be in this situation. How do you respond to such critics that the church is compromised and we're in this situation because the church has failed to be a mediator?
Okay. All right. First and foremost, as a church, where we have not done right, we'll take the blame. But listen to me. Yeah, there's a lot that church is doing behind the scenes as I speak now. Our church mother bodies are busy working. I was talking to our EFZ director, Bishop, our ED for EFZ, Bishop Mwenda. I gave him a call and I was saying, what are we doing as church? How far are we going? He said, no, we are busy in closed door meetings to ensure, that we have proper dialogue. Some things that we do as church privately must be able to bring public results. So the nation must be assured that church is busy talking to both parties as church to bring about a solution in this particular matter. All right? So the church is working behind the scenes. But of course, we can do more. If we resolved these issues way before we are where we are today as church, we shouldn't be in these problems. If we had made sure that the job of reconciliations and ironing up relationships were done prior, we're not going to be where we
Bishop,
are. But then
the delegation that was sent to South Africa, did it comprise of any church mother body or clergy? The delegation that was sent to have a conversation with the Lungu family.
I have not heard of who in the church accompanied in that delegation. This is what will also make me spill this out publicly. I, for one, have actually advised government through the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs that this country needs a council of elders. Beyond just the church mother bodies, we need a council of elders, creditable men that have worked with this country in its different governments and regimes, people that have the nation at heart. All right? This council of elders, once it's identified, they become key in works of reconciliations, because without us having that, it becomes very difficult, because the people may not feel fully mandated to be able to do certain things. So Zambia has men who are custodians of great wisdom and experience in them, who are able to operate beyond partisan politics and are able to work from the position of fatherhood and be able to advise the country where need be. Because even as we hear, you realize from what I was listening to, what Emmanuel Mwamba was also speaking, he had issues with the delegation that went to handle the reconciliations.
Yeah.
And in his words, he was saying, look, there are people who can easily go into government and speak, and they can also easily walk into the Lungu family and be able to speak. Meaning, if we can have that council of elders well received and accepted within the country, when we come to issues where we have deadlocks, their wisdom will speak without any bias to any political party, and the matter is solved. So the church as well finds itself certain times limited if we are only going to work from the role of the church mother bodies. I've been in these church circles for a long time now, and I've seen where limitations will actually get to lie, because you find that certain times a government will want to align with this particular church mother body and maybe not with this one.
And
maybe church mother bodies. Why that? It's also because of certain positions, that at times church mother bodies would actually get to take. So you get to have a problem. So
is that where the compromise now comes in?
That's where the compromise now comes in. This is why.
So it's true when people say the church is compromised.
It is true to a certain extent. That the church gets to be so much infiltrated and become so porous and so on. This is why, to arm ourselves, we should be saying, who in EFZ do we consider as an elder? Who in CCZ? Who in this other? So that when we get to do that, all right, we know that as church mother bodies will feed into a particular people. When there are matters like this, you have elders that will be able to help reconcile and sort out these matters. Like where we are at now, government alone is not the best voice to bring about a solid reconciliation that will be able to stand on as we go forward, which is very important. Government may have ability to use force, but certain times force alone is not good enough when the emotions of men are involved. This is why it's so much important if the family feels they can be talked to by a particular people, let that dialogue be done quickly and speedily. Sort out this and let government do what they ought to do, and let family as well be able to handle their role.
Bishop, I think you've talked about that these issues should have been resolved before his demise.
Yes,
but
yes.
I remember even the church, there were calls for dialogue before the former president passed on. And now they're saying the church is also part of what they're also a contributor to what is happening, this deadlock between the family and government, because your cause for dialogue was just in the media. No, let there be dialogue, not let there be dialogue. But others argue that there was no deliberate, steps for you to sit down, the former president and the current president, for them to resolve their issues. And they're saying that the church also should be blamed.
Yeah. That one I'll speak from my place of information. The church tried.
You tried?
Yeah. It wasn't easy. Efforts were made. All right? Efforts were made. I, for one, also in my capacity as the chairman for the advocates of the Declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, I became concerned, and also my committee was also concerned. And we also made steps, all right, to get to see how we can get to communicate. But the process, became very difficult at a particular point, which we may not.
Which parties were difficult in this dialogue?
Now, thank you very much for putting me on spot. All right,
so that we understand.
We had a problem in getting to resolve this matter because the different parties felt at some point one felt was not ready at that particular time.
It wasn't ready.
All right. Okay. No, let me not diverge into that. One felt was not ready at that particular time. Yet we tried to insist. No wonder we are saying, if we can get to have a council endorsed by the church, endorsed also by government, to say, look, in some of these matters, there's what church mother bodies would do, and certain things that the council must be able to do, let the council be able to do it. When we do that, it makes things easy, because we'll have created the platform that is needed for us to communicate where dialogue is concerned. Seeing a king is not easy. There are protocols that need to be managed. All right? And if they feel they are not comfortable, it's not easy to just get to do that.
So, Bishop, if I interpret your statement, seeing a king is not easy, you mean seeing the Republican president is not easy. So that's what challenges
It's not easy, not only him. Even seeing the former head of state, there are protocols to follow. There are protocols to follow.
So from the church's point of view, you tried.
We tried. I, for one, made steps, all right? And I know from my interactions with the other church fathers, people tried to move in. But I think there was a delay. And I think even government must learn its lessons. Some things don't drag. When we speak and give our counsel as church that we need some of these things to be done, it's important that those things are done. Already, there are things I've placed on the table, all right, of government, which I've said, if some things are not worked on now before elections, we'll have a problem. As I speak to you now, all right? I've laid them that we need to make sure that these things are done. But I'm happy that the office of the Vice President is working on those proposals that we have actually given to them, which are key, of which one of them was to again resolve the President Edgar Lungu issue and our head of state getting to talk to. It was also one of them. So
actually,
all right? Not only that.
So then government never listened to you on that one, because you submitted and they paid a sort of a blind eye to it. So they never listened.
Can't call it a blind eye. Can't call it a blind eye, because in closed doors, I again was called to explain more about some of these things, all right, which was good to me. But it's just that some things now have happened quicker than our speed to implement certain things.
Now,
all
Bishop,
right, so these are hard lessons.
Hard lessons. You said before we get to what next. Now, it's what's happening, especially on social media, Bishop, is very worrying and saddening and very un-African. Where we have seen people now, throwing mockery at the death. We've seen now politics play a part at the death. We've seen statements from the ruling party, some of their members. We've seen also statements from the Patriotic Front, and it's just total chaos. And one may say that the respect that we should accord as a nation when it comes to the funeral, we'll get to the president's remarks, is not there. Where have we lost it now as a country, that now death is something that we could mock about? Or maybe it's because of this impasse. That's why now people are having running commentaries on this particular very important issue.
Okay, very true. This impasse is also contributing. You can't leave people for a longer time without giving clear guidance. Very important on what is actually supposed to be done, because he passed on the 5th. What's the date today? It's 13th, all right? And we are still looking a bit limbo. And now when you do that, you are giving people platform to get to talk. So leadership must be done. Guidance must be offered as soon as yesterday, because you look, it is heavy to have a body that needs to be put to rest. It can't be put to rest because there are issues on ground, there are contentions. It's not good. Such platforms are giving people room to talk what will pollute the atmosphere. So government must speed up on what is supposed to be done from their end. And also this is an appeal to the family. The family as well, we appeal to your conscience, all right, to also speed up to see where you can make it easy for things to get to happen. And the family must know that whatever is to be done now is also for their good, to support them. Some issues that can't be resolved now while his body is not at rest. At times it's important to get to bury and begin to have sitting to now begin to resolve some of the issues that actually need to be resolved. So there are things that may not be resolved just immediately. There may be a process. So it's so much important that as family, we begin to create room to have process begin as process. Very important. So that we put our father to rest, even as we'll make sure that some of the things that need to be resolved. So some of the concerns that have been raised, we should not be quiet about them even after burial. Will have been unfair to the demands or the requests that have actually been presented from the family. Let government now sit down and begin to look at that. It's important. They are a government that should offer service to the people. The Lungu family, they're citizens that need to be also looked into. So I think it's important. So we must be able to know we can't resolve everything now. The main issue now is how do we put him to rest in dignity, in respect, and in high honor, befitting a former head of state.
So many statements and so many would say demands have come from the family, and there's been so many commentaries from governance experts, the church, and everyone. And one of them we learned of yesterday was that the departed, one of his wishes was that the current head of state shouldn't be anywhere near his body. Now, yesterday, last evening, President Hichilema addressed the nation, and his call was that let's go through this process in a peaceful, in a dignified manner. Yes, we should show empathy and also respect the grieving, the family, the party, and everyone involved. What do you make of his, sort of address, seeing that it's coming from a backdrop on the actual day where the demands were made that he shouldn't be anywhere near the former president's body?
All right. In the first place, we appreciate that our president, head of state, he stepped forward to address the nation and appeal for peace and respect and dignity around the funeral and the burial of our former president. That was very good. That was speaking for calm, all right, and not bringing out any emotional outburst per se, all right. Yet in the expectations of the people, I think they expected to hear a bit more than that.
Did you expect to hear a bit more yourself?
Thank you. What I was expecting for now was the guidance.
What's the way forward?
What's the way forward? Okay? What's the way forward? But then also, we have put the head of state in a space where it's also not easy for him to be able to speak the way he ought. Why am I saying so? If you are telling him he should not come near this body, all right? Now, already, we are weakening the platform we ought to give him to offer the help and the guidance that is actually supposed to be given. One begins to feel, am I the right person to even speak if I'm not needed to be near the body? But I'm here to say, President, you are president. All right? Things will be thrown to you, but we pray for your resilience. Your big heart is important. And when it comes to such moments, decisions still must be made. That's part of leadership packages. Yeah, that's the cost of leadership. When you be brought in a place where you are between a hard rock and another hard surface, but still we must be able to provide direction. Yes, people have said I shouldn't come near this body. But as head of state, I need to bury my former head of state. My reasons are ABCD, and let it be done. So there's still a place where the president must come out, offer the guidance that should be given.
Isn't that going against the family's wishes? And then we get into another deadlock, Bishop.
Yeah. Against the family wishes, but remember the broader picture. Because if he does not show up and bury the former president, the man where he took it up from,
bad presidency.
What will Zambia? Remember that we have nations that are looking at us on how we are resolving matters such as this. And we are a Christian country, for God's sake. So what are we telling the world? So we'll be telling the world that these two are enemies to death. They cannot, there's no space for President Hakainde Hichilema in the family of the Lungus going forward. It shouldn't be so. The family will still need him. Hear me very well. After we put to rest their father, the family will still need him to make certain decisions on certain demands. So we must not just look at today. We must also look at tomorrow. No wonder it's important that what we need to sort out in between government and the Lungu family, it must be sorted out, because though President Lungu has departed, he still lives through his family. He still lives through the many people he's mentored and grown in this country. So we must still be able to bridge up, reconcile, make sure that we are reconciled with the family. The family must also be brought to a broader picture so that as Zambia, we forge ahead as a united force.
According to the school of Bishop Billy Mfula,
that's it.
What's the way forward? I would love you to
Thank you.
Speak to the family and speak to government and other stakeholders that are involved so that we quickly resolve this
matter.
And we send off our former head of state the way and the way it ought to be.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. From the school of Bishop Billy Mfula, these are my thoughts, and I'll put them in plain language. Number one, government where we did not do right. Let's say sorry to the Lungu family. Yeah, let's say sorry to the Lungu family. Secondly, the Lungu family, you are grieving and we are grieving with you. Our hearts go with you. You know it. You know it. Yeah, that our hearts go way ahead with you. Allow the president to play his role. Allow the government to play their role fully in ensuring that we give an honorable send-off of an honorable man. Very important. As a family as well, let our hearts grow. Let's forgive. Yeah, where we feel we are injured, we are hurt, let's forgive government where they did not go right, because they remain our government. Yes, let's forgive them. Let's be able to forge ahead. Lessons have surely been learned. We should be able to do better going forward. As Zambia, let's respect the former head of state. Yeah, it doesn't matter which political party you are coming from. Yeah, we must learn to respect our elders. Very important. So that even in their death, our lives are blessed. Mind what you say. Very important. Let's respect our elders. Let's demonstrate unity as a nation. That should be able to help government and the family work without being divided. We have always managed as an ego nation to fly above any kind of crisis or situation. For me, this problem, we are equal to the task as a nation. We are experienced enough to fly above it. That's it. So leave the chicken mentality to meddle on petty issues. Let's fly above this and be able to see the great future that this country still has. Let's learn from President Edgar Lungu in all his good works and get to move forward as well.
Bishop,
that's it.
This situation and everything that has happened,
yeah,
what are some of the lessons that you have learned? What are some of the lessons that you have learned also from government?
Thank you.
From the country, from the people, and also
from the family.
And also from the family. What are the lessons that you're picking up?
I've learned a lot. No wonder Solomon says the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. If you are not made wise now, you never learn. These are lessons that I've learned. And I'm actually writing a book, and I'll add 2 more chapters to the book. I'm working on a book, The Making of a King. All right? Okay, so I have learned that we don't only have to prepare the king. We must also prepare his family. To know that the cost of being a son to a king is very high. Very, very high. That certain times you have to be willing to lose your rights and give up a man to a country. Very important. Not only while they campaign and you allow them go and fight in those battlegrounds of politics, but even in death, there's the how far you can go as a family. All right? These are great lessons. Where certain times you make a king, but you don't prepare a family. And make a family. Because many times we are taught how to live with people, but not how to live without those people. All right? So we've taught you how to live as a child of a president. But have we also taught you how to live when your father goes? All right? And how you surrender some of your rights and so on. So it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'll add those chapters in my book. And that it's also important that family must transition. You married when the man was not president. He's now a president of a country. There's a transition. There's a shift in the mind. There's a place where, even as a widow, where you say, look, I end here. Government takes over from here. That's from the family side. That's from the family side. What I've learned is important. Yeah, is important. And from government side, I've learned that as government, we must know that the things that we don't deal with today will catch up with us tomorrow. Let's work on them now. Very important. There's a place for politics, but there's also a place for humanity where we can relate and dialogue. Very important. Those lessons are key. Those lessons are key. What else am I learning here? Is this. This one is already in my book. Already, the book I released already. The Evolution of Leadership. That the highest place a man can rise to is not just being a president. It's being a father of a nation. Very important. Mm-hmm. And so, that's where former presidents now transition to. It's a rank called fatherhood, where we can speak from a fatherly point of view. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm. And now as Zambia, this is our bitter lesson. We have no man in the role of fatherhood now from the perspective of a former president who has the institutional experience and wisdom to be able to help guide the current. So if our current president, President Hichilema, has now an issue that needs a man who has experienced being president, he has no one to run to. He must now import the wisdom from other nations. That's a big gap for a nation. That's why for me, I am even mourning for the loss of the institution of experience and wisdom that must come from one who has experienced what it is to be a sitting president. We can offer advice from a place of inspiration, from a place of revelation, but there's a place of experience. And we had only one surviving, and that's our former head of state. Too bad that we may not have utilized that institution. We fought with the institution at a time we needed to use it. These are bitter lessons. Going forward, when our current president becomes former, may we respect that institution, protect the fatherhood institution. Leadership is not meant to be rotational, but must evolve and not rotate. So when one leaves the seat of presidency, he has evolved to be a father. That's it. He has evolved to be a father. And when we understand that, then and these former presidents begin to know that we respect that institution, they may never even wish to rotate to protect themselves.
Bishop, let's get to the phone lines. The number is 0956200490. Let's get about, if we can, 6 calls at a go, so that we respond to them once off and we wrap up with the program. So we're just getting 6 calls for this particular program. I'm seeing quite a number of people watching on Facebook. Let me just touch base with Facebook. Caroline says amen. She's following. Thank you so much. Dorcas is also following. We've got Terry Bambala is also watching. Thank you so much. Quite a number of people that are listening and watching to us. Text messages. This one says, Bishop Mfula, your response has comforted me. I believe our nation, how Jacob intervened in the naming of Benjamin is so profound. Kasia Kitwe. Thank you so much, Kasia. Good morning. Okay. All right. Let's quickly delve into calls. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Angela, good morning. And Bishop Mfula also, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, my name is Stephen calling from Angola.
Yes, Mr. Stephen.
Yes, Bishop, my take is that the church mother body at the moment, I doubt if they can reconcile the two parties. Why I'm saying this is that the church had missed the train. The train from Lusaka to Kitwe, they had missed it. They just want now to jump on it when it is at Kapiri. The church mother bodies, from the start, the issue of Kuomboka, they were there. They were just looking at issues. And after that, they could not reconcile the two. The two even started, others, they started compromising with the situation because they now started to belong to this party and that party. So they couldn't do anything. Then it came after the train had reached Kabwe. There was an issue of saying, I go through these elections, I will now put him in jail for good, not in jail. The church was there. It couldn't reconcile those matters. But now, this time, the church to come up and say they should reconcile when some of the issues were done in the churches. We could hear statements being made in churches in full view of you bishops. And sometimes even you yourselves, bishops, were contributing. Now for you to come this time and say you are going to, come and you solve this problem, I think with me I'm doubting because of the issue I've explained.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen. We'll have to let you go. Thank you so much for your contribution. Let's get another caller. Good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning, sir. This is Godwin calling you from Avondale.
Yes, Mr. Godwin, go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah. Good morning, Bishop Mfula.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate the good work that you are doing. First things first. For me, I think the church also delayed even much more than what you have said. Was as I believe in, we saw these confusions. Even when the former president was still on the seat. So at that point, there was that issue of dialogue, but nothing came out. But it's like we are now much more centered on what has really happened to this thing only, but we cannot even refer to what could have been done even by the church at that later stage in the first place. Okay? So the church could have come in even earlier than what we expected. I think that's where we could have solved one or two things. Yeah. Thank you so much, and I'm knowing the problem. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Godwin, calling us from right here within Lusaka. That's two calls. Let's get 4 more calls, Bishop, so that we respond to their concerns at a go. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kabanana Southern Service.
Your name again?
Paul Mumba.
Mr. Paul Mumba from Kabanana. Go ahead with the contribution.
My contribution goes to the people of Zambia and the church. This is not a time to point finger at each other, but it's a time we unite. It's a time we have learned our lesson, and this lesson which we have learned should not repeat itself in the future. I believe there are many things as the church, the board of craftsmen are condemning the clergy. They don't know what the clergy have been doing behind the scene, which has not been put to public. So instead of pointing fingers, maybe to say they are partisan or whatever, it's not about that. What Zambia needs now is for us to have learned our lesson, and the lesson we have learned, it should not repeat itself. Yeah. And I believe the future of our country is bright. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Paul Mumba. Let's get another caller. Good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning, Angel.
Yes, your name and where are you calling us from?
Vashimalan from Copperbelt.
Yes, Vashimalan from the Copperbelt.
Good morning, Bishop Bay.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm following the program well spoken.
Thank you.
Ngana mwana nifaka ya kwebu chibuke ko linge bwasambirira. Sinchonje se akika. Pero muno muchalo tesu cha Zambia eka uche abamu ya kusindika bakulu. Subali ko mulekeresha musalula. Meno tonze fi. Abatambirira ko bachimuntu cyalingirira atambirira ko.
Yeah.
So kusunga bwina bakulu abakiteto cyane. Kintu tuma sana pero muchichi.
Amen.
Mwali mwena watashi paka. Sana walupia banda. Pero muchichi sana. Lero balungu mwali mu nefu bale bakikola batuka kwa tashani. Lero ameshinga itika. Apalike disambiro buteko boso wa UPNG. Ninge waputa kwa manu kuchindika abantu bonse bakulu kuchindika machichi. Kasina muna Zambia wonse amono kuko bati muchalo muri confusion kanchiku yakabati tika tene chika chale mtakala kwa ina tete.
All right, thank you so much, Vashimalan from the Copperbelt. Great to know that you are tuned in. This text message says, let us pray for God to grant us peace as the nation, as He binds us as a nation. Mutembuke, thank you so much for your text message. Another caller, good morning. You are through to the program. Okay, we lost that caller. You can call us back on 0956 200 490 or 0956 200 490. That's the number that you can call us, and you will be through to the studio and have a conversation with our guest this morning. All right, let's pick up this one. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Hello, good morning. You are through to the program. Good morning. You are through to the program. Hello.
Yes, your name and where are you calling us from?
Oh, yeah, I'm Mutumba calling from Kanyama.
Yes, go ahead. Mutumba calling us from Kanyama.
Yes.
Go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah, I want to thank the bishop. I think what he said is very, very important. Words of unity. I'll pick on what he said, the way forward, because if we focus on what happened previously, we are not going to solve the problem. The way forward, what he said, the family first should come in terms with the government. They have to know that these things happen. And when these things happen, we are Christians, and just have to accept it. Lungu is gone. So they just have to accept it, the council that will come. Let the body come. Let it be buried in a human way. Then the government also, the president should come out. Let them apologize. It's not a loss to apologize. This is the only way that this stalemate can be solved, by apologizing. So without apology, this thing will be dragged to a date which we don't even know. So the best way, when two people quarrel, one must come down. The government must apologize, because truly things happened, and everyone knows. They were denied 3 times to go. We had to sneak out. Those who allowed GM were fired. So all those things are in the minds of those family members. So the best way is just to come, just apologize. You lose nothing. You don't lose presidents when you say I'm sorry, or maybe we say we are sorry. We know, everyone knows that you are going to went through him after Edgar.
Okay.
So so vengeance is not going to help. They let them just come. Let them just open up and apologize to solve this problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Great to know that you are tuned in. Let's get our very last caller. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning, bro. How are you doing?
Very well. Your name and where you calling us from?
I'm happy. I've been trying a long time ago. This is Victor Banda from Shawama.
Yes, go ahead with the contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a guarantee, man. I follow you sometimes,
Amen.
but due to sometimes power problems, so we have challenges.
Okay.
Yeah. First things, I really thank God that you are given this privilege, at least to present something that is cardinal and more important to our nation. I hope some of these things that are said, maybe like it is, if everyone is listening, I know there are few of us that really are looking at good things at every point of our levels where we are. You know, bad things are going to come. This is the world we live in because of sin. But now, coming to the point, what I want to say, the important thing that, of all the things that you've said, the important thing amongst everything, yesterday when luckily enough, I got shocked that we found the part at our place. I said, what has happened? Then somebody tells me, the president has to address the nation. So, no, okay, fine. But I didn't listen to whatever it was, but I listened to just a bit of it. The important thing that I wanted to hear is an apology. You know, like the brother who just left. The important thing is just to apologize. I don't know. The church, unfortunately, there is that compromise of belonging to or having an interest in certain things. That's what has divided the believers and the church. I mean, these mother bodies. It's really divided. If we were moving like the Catholics, you know, when they were choosing the Pope? When they were choosing the Pope, they were selected from different corners, and then they never met before. And then they had one voice. Just to make a choice of who should stand and do the work that is needed. The problem that we have in this country or the world over, in the Christian movement, we listen to politicians. The politicians are driving Christians. We are supposed to be on the seat of driving politicians, not vice versa. No. But the bottom line of everything that I've said, Bishop, if you have people that can see the president, I believe you can find some.
Okay.
I belong to an Adventist church.
Yeah.
I know you can look for people that can go straight to the president and talk to him. Like it happened to Mwamba when he was looking for someone to help the president that time. You remember the issue of Emmanuel Mwamba when he was looking for the president to help the president. You remember? They just talked to an elderly person. An elderly person went straight to President Manawaza. There is a situation.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Said,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll have to let you go.
Find those people.
Thank you so much. Bishop, with your indulgence, can I pick up one call so we'll make it 7? Yeah, just one, the last one. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning.
Your name and where you
Good morning, Bishop Mfula.
Good morning.
And good morning, the moderator. This is Auntie Dorothy from Kamwala.
Yes, just kindly reduce the volume on your radio set. We're getting terrible feedback. Yes, go ahead.
Here we don't expect the president to apologize to anyone because the church has been quiet. You've been seeing the politics that has been happening. Let's not stay a bright. I'm a born again, spirit-filled Christian. I've been watching the mother bodies have sided with one side. The other people are talking this side. As a result, I'll bless the body of Christ. Otherwise, the president stands on the same foundation with love, with wisdom, and everything. All we need is to pray for the president who is in the authority. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Auntie Dorothy, for your contribution. Great to know that you are tuned in. I also received a similar... Okay, this is a text message from Michael. He says, Bishop, good morning. Don't you think it would be wise for the president to apologize regardless of everything? Okay, this is... so we do have quite a number of concerns that are really pointing that... wanting to get your opinion if you think that the president should apologize. It says, it says afternoon, but it should be good morning. Men of God, I'm really impressed with how the bishop is answering. This is wisdom that all Zambians must listen to. Key is to forgive and we go back and appreciate how Mwanawasa and Sata, our former presidents, how they reconciled. Why not do the same? We are a Christian nation. We are teaching other nations what should be done. Harriet Livingston, thank you so much, Harriet. Bishop, let me give you a chance to respond to these concerns.
Yeah. The church mother bodies, they said, the first caller said, can't reconcile the two parties. Also, why is because they are late. They should have come in to intervene much earlier. Well, it's better late than never. If there's where church has been slow, church must also learn its lessons. Church is not perfect. Yeah, church must learn her lessons as well as a church and become more proactive and become more radical and pushy and get things to be done. So we can't say the church can't do anything at this particular point. The church should do something. Yeah, and that's why we are here. This is again the church talking. Yeah, and also there's a lot of work that is going on behind the scenes. There are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I must emphasize this. A lot that is going on behind the scenes, which is not in the media eye or ear, because some things are private and must be handled privately. It's not everything you bring to social media. So there's a lot that church leaders are doing behind the scenes, yet we are not saying that we can't do better. We should do better. And so we are also learning our lessons and trusting that we should be able to serve the country better also as a church. Yeah. Paul Mumba says he was speaking to the people of Zambia and the church and emphasized that we must be able to look forward now and see the future, which is actually very good. I think it's important to now look at where we are going than just where we are. Let's sort out our mess now and still be able to forge ahead. Also, there was a good comment from Vashi Malan, saying government must learn its own lessons, and also as a country, we must learn to respect the elders. I think that is key. It's also biblical. Honor your father and mother so that your days will be many in whatever you are doing. It may be in your field of politics. Respect fathers there. You have longevity in your political career. Whichever area of life, we must honor our fathers, honor our elders. That is the way to go. Yeah, and also one made a huge important comment that let's not allow politicians to drive the church. Let the church drive and be on the driving seat. That is very good. That's correct counsel. Church must not be driven by a politician. We are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. And light must offer guidance, offer directions. Salt must change the taste of everything else. We change atmospheres, we change perspectives, we change perceptions. So I agree with that contributions. Auntie Dorothy, he has said we don't expect the president to apologize to anything, okay? But the blame goes to the church. In fact, when we talk about apology, we are not pointing it simply to the president. We are saying government must apologize. When we say that, we are saying there are things that we have not done correctly as government. And why the president may be mentioned is because he's the leading face and voice who should be able to lead that. All we are saying is that as government, there are areas where we have not done the right thing. We should be able to admit and saying sorry is not a problem at all. We should be able to do that where we've gone wrong. That goes to anybody else who may not have done the right thing that needs to be done. Apologizing does not weaken our position or who we are in society. So where there's conflict, apology is important. Forgiveness is also important. Yeah, because we even go to extents where we say, look, even when you know you are right, humble yourself. Yeah. Say sorry if you were not misunderstood. You were misunderstood in your being right. We humble ourselves, because what are we doing? We are creating platform for dialogue.
Bishop,
all right?
Let me throw in a question there.
Please do.
So would you say it's unfair when people repeatedly say that the apology should come from the head of state, or that's what should be done? Because you said, when we say the apology, it's not only the head of state, but government.
We're talking
also
of government, exactly.
So,
okay.
How about those that are just saying, no, the head of state should apologize?
No. That view is wrong, all right? He is a representation of government. There's a lot that is actually at play. When you look at the head of state, there's him as a person, all right? And there's him as the executive leader that actually is governing this country. So there's an apology the president can give as him as a person. There's an apology he can give on behalf. He can even send his envoy to say, come on behalf of government, go say sorry. That's what we are talking about. So we must know that this is not something we are bringing on personality. We are looking at government. That must be very clear to everyone listening right now. Okay? That's it. Otherwise, for me, from my school of thought,
your concluding remarks.
Yeah, from my school of thought, my concluding remarks, is that we can dialogue, all right, as Zambians. Let's learn our lessons and let's forge ahead. We can't keep this body unburied. Yeah, it must rest. Yeah,
Bishop.
It must rest. It must rest. And let's all of us help the body of our departed father rest in peace as citizens. Let's make it easy that we come to that place. As family, let's make it easy so that we can have the body of our father be put to rest. As government, let's make it easy so that we can have the body of our father be put to rest in highest honor and dignity.
Bishop, it was a privilege hosting you on this very platform. Thank you so much for coming through and just, having a conversation and also adding your voice to this particular issue. Thank you so much.
A big thanks to you and the entire RCV management leadership for inviting me to come and add a voice to what is going on.
All right. Thank you so much. This is where we come to the end of the program. Thank you so much to everybody that called, texted, also our Facebook viewers. Thank you so much. Wherever you are watching us from, thank you so much. And up next, we do have the news coming up at 11. Then just after that, Chipo comes on with today's edition of Lifestyle. But I'm leaving you with a challenge. Invite somebody to church. It could be Saturday, tomorrow, or Sunday. Invite somebody to church and tell me about it on Monday. So I'm going to be waiting.
Wow.
If you have invited somebody to church, that means when you invite somebody to church, you have to go to church. So for starters, you have to go to church, then invite somebody to church. Thank you so much. You do have a great and restful weekend.
Wow.
All I ever wanted to do was to serve my country to the best of my abilities. I want to thank you, Zambian people, for giving me a great opportunity to be your president. I will forever cherish and appreciate that authority you vested in me.
RCV joins the nation in mourning the passing of Zambia's 60th Republican President, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We honor his service and leadership. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and the people of Zambia. May his soul rest in eternal peace.